In a small town, nestled between rolling hills and sprawling fields, there lived a woman named Clara. From a young age, Clara had been taught that perfection was the key to happiness. Her mother, a meticulous seamstress, would spend hours ensuring that every stitch was flawless, every hem perfectly aligned. Clara absorbed this lesson, believing that if she could just achieve perfection in her own life, she would find the happiness that seemed to elude her. As she grew older, Clara's quest for perfection manifested in various aspects of her life. In school, she strived for straight A's, often sacrificing her social life and personal interests to study late into the night. In her career as a graphic designer, she spent countless hours tweaking every detail of her projects, convinced that only a perfect presentation would earn her the recognition she desired. Even in her relationships, she sought out friends and partners who seemed flawless, believing that their perfection would somehow reflect on her and elevate her own happiness. Yet, despite her relentless pursuit, Clara often found herself feeling empty. Each achievement, whether it was an award for her designs or a compliment on her grades, brought only a fleeting sense of satisfaction. The moment she reached one goal, another loomed ahead, demanding her attention and effort. She began to feel like a hamster on a wheel, running tirelessly but never getting anywhere. The weight of her expectations grew heavier, and with it, her disappointment deepened. One crisp autumn day, Clara decided to take a different route home from work. She wandered through a park she had never visited before, drawn in by the vibrant colours of the leaves and the laughter of children playing nearby. As she strolled along the winding path, she noticed a small group gathered around a woman painting on a canvas. The artist, a middle-aged woman with wild curls and paint-splattered clothes, was creating a landscape that was anything but perfect. The trees were lopsided, the sky a riot of colours that didn't quite match the setting sun. Yet, as Clara watched, she felt an inexplicable warmth spread through her. The artist, noticing Clara's gaze, smiled and beckoned her over. "Would you like to try?" she asked, her voice inviting. Clara hesitated, the familiar voice in her head warning her that she wasn't good enough, that she would only make a mess. But something about the artist's carefree spirit intrigued her. With a deep breath, she stepped forward and picked up a brush. As she began to paint, Clara felt a strange sense of liberation. She didn't have to worry about making mistakes. The strokes of her brush were free and unrestrained. She let the colours flow onto the canvas, blending and clashing in ways that felt joyous rather than chaotic. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to enjoy the process without the burden of perfection. The laughter of the children, the rustling of the leaves, and the artist's encouraging words created a symphony of inspiration that filled her heart. When Clara finally stepped back to view her creation, she was surprised. It wasn't perfect, the proportions were off, and the colours didn't quite match. But it was vibrant, alive, and filled with emotion. In that moment, Clara realised that her painting, with all its imperfections, was a reflection of her own journey. It told a story of her struggles, her fears, and her triumphs. It was real. After that day, Clara found herself returning to the park often. She began to paint regularly, each time allowing herself to embrace the imperfections that came with it. She learned to appreciate the beauty in the flaws, discovering that they often added character and depth. With each stroke, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders, as if she were shedding the unrealistic expectations she had carried for so long. As Clara delved deeper into her artistic journey, she began to extend this newfound acceptance of imperfection into other areas of her life. She let go of her obsession with grades, allowing herself to enjoy learning for the sake of curiosity rather than the pursuit of an A. She became more open in her relationships, seeking connections with people who were genuine rather than perfect. She embraced the quirks and flaws of her friends, finding joy in their authenticity. Gradually, Clara's perspective shifted. She began to see that true happiness didn't lie in the absence of flaws, but rather in the acceptance of them. Life was messy, unpredictable, and filled with challenges, but it was also rich with experiences, laughter, and love. The moments that brought her the most joy were often the ones that didn't go as planned. The spontaneous road trips with friends, the laughter shared over a burnt dinner, the heartfelt conversations that meandered into the night. One evening, as Clara sat in her studio, surrounded by her paintings, she reflected on her journey. The walls were adorned with canvases that told stories of growth, resilience, and acceptance. Each piece was a reminder that imperfection was not something to be feared, but embraced. She smiled as she realized that she had finally found the happiness she had sought for so long, not in the pursuit of perfection, but in the beautiful messiness of life. Clara's story became a testament to the power of accepting imperfection. She began to share her journey with others, encouraging them to let go of their own unrealistic expectations. She held workshops in the park, inviting people to paint and create without judgment. Slowly, a community formed around the idea that happiness could be found in the flaws, in the unpolished moments that made life vibrant. As the seasons changed and the years passed, Clara continued to paint, to connect, and to inspire. She learned that happiness was not a destination, but a journey filled with ups and downs, triumphs and failures, all woven together by the thread of imperfection. And in that acceptance, she discovered a profound joy that resonated deeply within her soul, illuminating her path forward.